Blessings, much love to each and every single one of you out there. Happy Saturday. It's an honor and a privilege to be in front of this camera once again, to be able to have these forms of conversations with the general public. I think it is very important that us as adults are able to sit across from each other and share and dialogue about the things that concern or hurt us as a community. I don't think a lot of us have the capacity to be able to do these things as much as we used to at some point. Um, Social media has desensitized us so much in interacting that it's rare, very rare that we're able to have a back and forth of some type of substance where both parties are respected equally to a certain degree. And I thank God first and foremost for giving me the opportunity to be put in a position to where I can use my platform to discuss such matters, whether you believe they're important or they have nothing to do with you at all. The fact of the matter is, we all have a calling and a purpose, and our voices should be heard, and we should be doing something with our talents and our gifts that allows us to reach a broader audience to a degree to where we can change the course or outcome of something that's going on all around us. So I thank God first and foremost. I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you who will watch this on the replay. For those who pull up and watch us live, I thank you for spending time with us. I thank you for being patient with all of the audio and visual issues that I've been having over the course of the past few weeks. I promise that in time we will get them things in order. Um, I pride myself very high on bringing quality to my platforms. So be mindful that I will have some bumps along the way, but we will get there. I promise you. Shout out to my cast members from Evelyn's Abomination to Chronicles of Dystopia. I have a couple of projects aside coming real soon. I promise you, you're gonna love what we come up with. These guys, man, they break and sweat and go through the motions with me, man, just to even get these things out. So I'm very grateful and I'm very appreciative of them. Today, I think it is a perfect time for us to have a man to woman conversation, one where we're not speaking as rivals or enemies, one where we're not talking over each other or we're in a competition to find out who is more right and who's more wrong, right? A lot of these platforms, they engage in these narrations where someone is trying to prove something over the other person and inevitably it never gets anywhere. The content becomes drama filled. I never want that. I never want anyone to feel as though they're being attacked or their voice or their opinion doesn't matter. We should treat each other with the utmost respect in regards to the things that concerns us. The guest that I am honorably joined with this evening, or should I say this afternoon, is a young woman that I've had the privilege to work with prior on a live that I did a few weeks back on Instagram. If you're not following over there, keep entropy as the tag if you want to check that out. I also have clips up if you want to check those out too. This young lady is very articulate, very poised, very calm, and surprisingly, she's an introvert as well as I am. If you're not familiar with my channel, I don't know what rock you've lived under. I've been under the cloak for years with the mask. So if you're not familiar with what I'm speaking on, then you won't comprehend or appreciate what this is right now. This is history in the making, and I'm humbled and I'm honored to have you on this live with us. Would you please introduce yourself for the people?
Yes. Thank you. First of all, I want to say I'm happy to be here. I'm glad I've had this opportunity to be a part of your platform and offer my voice. My name's Raya. Y'all can call me Raya. I first was introduced to these like live streams a couple years back. I believe it's been about 2 years. Um, just recently getting back into tuning into the live streams. Um, and I'm glad that now, you know, I can be part of it, um, actively participating on the platform instead of just observing conversations.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you're definitely more than welcome here. I left the rug out. I left the door open. I left a couple of drinks over here for you. If you want something, you can grab something from out the fridge. If you're hungry, I got some snacks waiting. You know what I'm saying? I even, you know, we trying to make it as comfortable as possible. So I'm glad to have you on. Right. The thing that I always had an issue with in regards to bringing people onto these platforms is that the negative stigmas that get placed on the subject. You know, a lot of people will have backlash and disagreements about these things, and instead of actually attacking the issue itself, we attack each other. You know, why you feel this way about such and such? Why we can't talk about how he did this or how she did that? Why are we always bashing men? Why are we always bashing women? There's always a nonsensical argument that never gets anywhere. So this one I felt would be perfect for us to sit down and talk about. And for those who don't know what I'm speaking about, we're going into dangerous territories revolving this ideal that appearance means more than substance. We've gotten so far off into society where we have to have certain standards. We have to have certain looks. We have to have a certain appeal to us that brings us a certain satisfaction, whether it's financial, whether it's romantic, whether it's doing business. Everything seems to be so focused on the aesthetics of a person, and we no longer have any care for the person, the soul, the heart, the mindset, the personality. These traits seem to be fading away more and more every day. And I came across an article that really triggered me, and I didn't know it was that old until I seen one of the clips where there were men having operations to become taller. They would get their legs grafted, and they would have metal rods put into their flesh and bone in order for them to increase in their height by a certain length. I wanted to ask and get your thoughts on, in general, your perspective on superficial and vain ways of living. How, if it's affecting us in any way, if it's affecting us in a way, getting operations and surgery, just your general thoughts on all of it.
Um, with it's definitely not something new. Um, Appearances, looks, your level of your ability to fit into a generalized norm for beauty, um, or attractiveness. It's always affected people in everyday life from jobs to romantic relationships. It does have an effect. It shouldn't, but that's the way it is. I feel like social media has definitely enhanced it significantly, very significantly to where we're good.
Yeah, we good. We good.
Okay. Where people can alter their appearance and um, you know, they can look one way online and be another way in person, and it definitely creates more insecurities with some people, uh, doubt, and then you know it gives them this platform where they feel you know that their standards that they hold are like just the way to be. Um, Especially, I know it's currently we're discussing height with men. That's a really big thing I've noticed with a lot of women, you know, and it's a really big debate between men and women about a height standard for men. Um, and it's an argument that, like, well, there's beauty standards for women, height standards, and beauty standards for men. I don't think it should ever be to the point where you're going through or undergoing an operation that significantly decreases your health. Like when you're going through operations of that extreme, you're highly susceptible to getting infections and getting sick, and then it just makes your legs weaker. I've seen it can be complications. You're not able to walk or operate within the same capacity you were prior to the operation. It should never reach that extreme where you're trading functionality for appearances for men or women.
I agree. One thing that I've noticed over the years, especially when it comes to this idea that we have to dress ourselves up, is that in getting these surgeries and these operations and these additions to our bodies, not only are we disrespecting what God already thought was perfect,
That's
but
right.
we're taking away pieces of us that we could never get back. What do I mean by that? You ever meet someone and they have a certain edge to them that you think compliments you in a way, but you know there's red flags to it, but it incites you to a degree. It puts you in a place of curiosity, so you entertain it. But when it's all said and done, from the minute that it was fun to it's already caused all the destruction that it can, you no longer recognize yourself anymore because how it started didn't end the way that it started. When you met them, you were still sprightly, you were still fun, you were still loving and kind and vibrant. After you met them, you're bitter, resentful, you don't trust as much, you don't embrace your personality as much as you used to. You resort to doing certain things in order to feel better about yourself. What you used to do prior to meeting that person, you no longer do. That's what I'm referring to when I speak about getting lip fillers and getting BBLs and extending your length in your arms and all these different things. Why are you doing it in the first place? Why do you feel that it's necessary for you to change something about yourself? Is it because of the way the world views you? Do you not care or love yourself the way you are? Did someone lie to you about how good of a person you are just the way you are? What brought upon these changes in your life? Why did you feel that you needed to go to the extreme to alter something that was already perfect in the first place? Is it for a better job? Is it to get more attention from the opposite gender? What's really causing these extremes in the first place? Because at the end of the day, I don't care how many times you change your body structure or you try to alter your personality for someone else, it's never going to end the way that you want it to. And you said something about um, the the cons of getting these surgeries. You might not ever walk the way that you used to again. You might not be able to play sports. Hell, there's people who died from operations. So what's really going on here? Why do we put aesthetics so high on the pedestal?
Um, that's a pretty broad question. I feel like it's pressure from society along with already existing insecurities. Um, people, it's natural to always look at others and see what they have going for them and what they have going on. And a lot of times we compare ourselves to others, and it breeds jealousy and envy and insecurities as well, and pushes people to extremes. And it shouldn't be that way. And I guess you could even take it back to scriptures, it says in scriptures not to be envious. And I guess it's also in part that lack of um, God in people's lives. People don't read the scriptures. Some people don't memorize the Ten Commandments. They may have memorized them at a young age. They don't implement that into their daily life. They don't keep it on their mind and their hearts. And it just, that lack of God in our lives really pushes us into some crazy extremes, I feel. You lose yourself in trying to keep up with the world and with society and what they expect of you instead of finding that peace within yourself, that comfort, stability within yourself to where you're unmoved by external influences and you're just comfortable because you know you're covered.
I agree. I definitely agree. And it would explain a lot of the competitive nature, why folks are going so hard to get the nice car and the best job and the best career, while people are sexualizing themselves every opportunity that they possibly can get in order to garner some form of attention from someone in order to feel good about themselves because of things that they're lacking that they didn't work on in the process of growing up. Someone didn't raise them or didn't teach them or didn't talk to them, or they just got led astray and never found a way back from the darkness that they got sucked into. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that height is a deal breaker in meeting, you know, the opposite sex? Is that something that disqualifies a person? Should it be something that disqualifies a person? Um, why is it so important?
Um, that's kind of
I
a
know I
tough.
just asked you like three. I just asked you like three questions in one. My bad.
Uh, it's um, it's definitely not a deal breaker. I feel like you know having a very specific height, and it's like if somebody approaches you and you just immediately write them off because you're 5'2" and they're not 6'4", like you like that's your standard you set. Um, I can see how for like a taller woman, she might, be a little bit hesitant to entertain a male who's um, either shorter than her or not even close in height or just close in height, because women like to wear high heels and dress up and, sometimes you want to wear high heels and it just depends on the individuals also. Some men they like taller women, some women like taller men, but that strict cutoff that you have to meet this standard, like that can be a problem for me personally. Um, I'm average height. Um, I'm 5'4". I have a father; he's 5'1". And that hasn't impacted him drastically in dealing with the opposite sex. Like women definitely are still attracted to him in spite of his height. Taller women are attracted to him in spite of his height. My mother, she's closer in height to him, so I feel like for him, maybe he wanted a woman who was close in height, close to his height. He didn't have a problem with her wearing high heels. She would be a little bit taller than him. Uh, it wasn't a problem for me. I wouldn't mind a man who's the same or close in height to me. I don't just write people off because of their height, though. And I know it's like a big thing for a woman having a tall man, but how do you feel about dating a woman who's taller than you?
Height doesn't really bother me actually. If you're if you tall enough to body slam me though, I I mean it's not really about the height for real. It's more about your personality. I'm still traditional. I still believe in, are you a good person? Do you have a shitty personality? Are you sarcastic? Are you a horrible friend? Are you a shitty coworker? Do you like to steal from your friends? Do you like to sneak out and lie to your people about your true intentions? Are you are you a manipulative person? Do you use your beauty as a tool to weaponize against the person that you're supposed to be courting? I look at things from a but beyond the surface level type of thing. I'm not too into the whole height thing. Now I have my own preferences. They're not they're not unhealthy preferences. They're just my preferences. I want you to be healthy. I don't want you to be borderline diabetic or on your way to the hospital if for whatever reason you eat something that just triggers you. And I think a lot of people get offended or can't understand the differences in preference. There's a preference, and then there's just you being an asshole for no apparent reason. My preferences are based on me wanting to create a foundation that's going to be respected and honored within that space so that you're comfortable and happy, and I'm comfortable and happy. And whether or not there's a good and a bad day, we can still come together and still do this thing without the headache of being judged or preconceived as we have to live the way that everybody wants us to live. A lot of people look at height and they automatically assume that if you're super tall that that's going to be your best chance at having a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship. That does not mean that. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Just because they 6'5" can slam dunk and all that doesn't mean they won't whoop your ass. It doesn't mean they won't go out here and step into another woman's bed. Doesn't mean that they're going to protect you. Doesn't even mean they're going to be a long term goal. They could be fun for right then and there, but that doesn't mean that it's going to last forever. So height doesn't mean anything to me. You can be the most gorgeous man or woman in the world, and the person that's right next to you is probably going to be unhappy and miserable at some point. Nothing like that lasts forever. So I guess it really just depends on the person. Me personally, I don't see that as a major component. It's a plus, but and so I'm 6 foot. Anything my height or below is fine. If you're a little taller than me, that's fine. I don't have a major. If there's no deal breakers with that, because I'm talking to you to find out what kind of person you are, and I'll know within the first 10 minutes whether or not it's going to go anywhere or it's not. Because I like to talk. You can't just get me with your eyes and your bone structure and all that. I need more. You got to give me more because I'm at the age where I need more. I deserve more. I command more. And if I can't have that, then what's the point?
That's very true. And I feel like the looks, I guess people prioritize looks so much because it's like first impression, you know? First thing you see is what this person looks like. And it's easy, it's pretty easy to get caught up in appearances. You know, people lie. Sometimes when first meeting somebody, they'll paint things to seem bigger than they are, less than they are, you know? Then they get caught up on that appearance aspect, and it definitely can be blinding. Um, so you gotta set looks aside. My grandfather always says like beauty fades and ugly holds its own. Like you gotta think beyond appearance and with this person's characteristics, with the way they conduct themselves. Would I be would I be able to still look at this person and appreciate their character and the energy they bring 40 years from now, 40 years down the road? Because that's ultimately the goal is to find somebody you can commit your life to. For a majority, that should be the goal. I know with this modern culture of jumping from partner to partner and hookup culture and all of that, you know, a lot of people they don't prioritize that structure and that stability. Um, and that comes from prioritizing looks over character again. So a lot of toxicity in this new culture, what's being normalized. Um, it's very toxic. The way people conduct themselves and make their decisions. It's getting a little bit crazy, but I guess it also stems from knowing yourself, being comfortable with yourself, knowing what you want in your life, what your goals are, and then figuring out like what you how you should look at the world, the perspective you should use, the lens you should look through to achieve your end goal, stability, peace, you know, because everybody's gonna get older, you know. 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, you're not gonna look the same. You know, you're not gonna have the same pool. You're not you know, you're gonna be grandmother aged at some point and you're gonna to look back at what you did in your youth and be like, am I what I did it set me up for my future? Am I gonna be okay? Am I gonna be happy in my future with how my younger self conducted their self?
Right, right. And that's the thing. Ultimately, it's like you meet the person at a certain age. Y'all both young,
Mm.
and y'all in love, and y'all happy. And but ask yourself this question: you done put in all these hours in the gym. You done did all these alterations and did all this stuff to get the person that you want. Now you got them. Are you
Amen.
gonna like the person though? Are you really gonna like the person forever? You might end up hating their. Oh, I can't stand this mother. I can't. He get on my nerves. She get on my nerves. Oh, I can't stand looking at him. Because a lot of times people get bored. It's fun for a while, and then after you reach a certain age in your life and you had the children, you've done the parenting, and you found your person. Some people will feel like they're missing out. They want to go back out into the street and try to find something exciting because they lost their spot, and they'll step out their relationship or they'll step out their marriage and jeopardize it for a temporary fix that they forgot, or maybe they just didn't realize that they didn't have what they thought they had when they met the person. So they go chasing after it somewhere else, and then they become a domino effect of statistics. We were married for 10, 15 years, and somebody came into my DM and swept me off my feet. Or his best friend, he was eyeing me, and I didn't realize, and we started flirting, and the next thing you know, oh, he wasn't doing what he used to do for me in the beginning of the relationship. Oh, she stopped taking care of herself. She lost her way, and people just eventually just fall off. It's all that's why I titled the way I did about being superficial and vain, because folks aren't in it for the reasons that they should be in it for, to my own personal experiences. There's no way you're gonna tell me you're getting all of these things done to you. You're making all these changes, and you're telling me that they're all for the right reasons. You're getting BBL. You're extending your legs for yourself. You're getting breast enhancements for yourself. Is that really true? Is that really the case? You putting all that makeup on for yourself? Is that really what it is for?
And I just gotta
Let's
add
remove. Good.
not to mention like people they'll step out and stuff because the relationship's boring. And boring isn't always bad. I know we're deviating a little bit, but boring isn't always bad. Like that just means there's stability. I feel like people they get used to that toxicity. They may have had toxic relationships in the past, and like the excitement of arguing and all the drama and the build up, and then it's just they get used to that toxicity. Boring can be good. Just means you're in a stable place. You guys are both comfortable. Doesn't mean stop making your partners feel special. You know, take them out on dates, surprise them with gifts. Uh, be like, get dressed up. We're gonna go somewhere special. We're gonna do something. It doesn't have to be expensive. I know it's really expensive. Just taking care of the necessities these days. Like you can still do special stuff on a budget, make your partner feel special, uh, and still have that healthy relationship. And I feel people start to let themselves go once they don't get that girlfriend boyfriend treatment. Once it gets too comfortable, it's good to be comfortable, stable, healthy, but not too comfortable to the point that you don't express your love for your partner in significant ways, like gestures and dates and gifts. And I don't think it's superficial. It's just showing that appreciation for the person you chose, for their character and for what they bring to the table, bring to the relationship.
I like that answer because I don't think there's anything wrong with being stable. If you think being stable is boring,
Mhm.
something is wrong with you, or maybe that's just not your lane. Maybe you need to find someone who is in the same playing field as you, that is constantly on the go or gives you that thrill or makes you feel like at any given moment they could leave or something. I don't understand that whole he's too boring or he's not exciting enough or I don't get danger out of him. That whole bad boy thing that a lot of women tend to be drawn to. I never understood it, and then I never understood how you could categorize one person as being lame for having their own preferences, their own hobbies, and their own way of enjoying life versus the other person that you're more drawn to who lives a more dangerous route, right? They probably are at risk of getting tax evasion charges, uh, getting shot, leaving out their house because of the lifestyle that they live, or they have three baby mothers on the side that you don't know about. You find that more exciting or exhilarating over the person who probably just likes going to the park or just more healthier ways of enjoying each other's company or their own company. Like I've never understood that. But no, boring. I don't know. Maybe we all got different definitions of what boring is. I think boring is when you don't take interest in the other person's hobbies and things that they like. I think it's boring when you don't give them the impression that you're with them fully. And so you do things that makes a person withdraw from you. I think your inability to be open to the possibilities are boring. That you're closed off. That you got a wall up. That you refuse to let down. I think there's different levels to it. My idea of boring is not the same as everybody else's. I like to relax. I like to chill, to be myself. I have hobbies. I have things that I like to do too. Yeah, I don't want to jump out of a fucking airplane. I might do it one day though, but you never know with me. That's the type of person I am. I might bungee jump. No, nah. Refrain that. I'm not bungee jump. I might jump out of the airplane. At least with the airplane, I got an opportunity to survive because of the parachute. The bungee cord thing, I don't know. Something about the idea that the shit might snap. I just,
There's no plan
but
B.
I,
Jumping, there's no plan B. Mm.
yeah. My point is not necessarily about jumping out of the airplane. It's the fact that you don't know if you don't know the person that you're dealing with, you don't know what you're going to get out of them until you actually get to know them and find out these things. I went for years and years and years with wearing a mask, and people already automatically assumed that I was just one way. But there's way more to me than just that mask. But you won't know that. And just spinning the block on this whole changing and altering your personality and your body to attract a certain type of person, I think that shit is dumb as hell. Because if you gotta do all of that to get what you want, is it really for you? You doing. I mean, really think about it. You doing all of these changes for a certain type of man, a certain type of job, a certain type of lifestyle. You doing all that,
um,
and
you do. I'm sorry to cut you off. You do attract the energy you put out. So if you're altering, it should be a lifestyle change, something you can keep up with, something that's healthy and that you can be consistent with. Like if you want if you want a significant other who's super toned and fit, like get into fitness too and like stay consistent with that, stay consistent with the fitness and the healthiness and uh you put that energy out, you're gonna bring that back in. If you want somebody who's dresses nice and likes to go to expensive places, make sure you got your money right too, so you can dress nice and you can keep up with your appearance. So you can attract somebody who does the same and wants that same energy in their life. And it be your lifestyle, not, you portray yourself as one way and then get the person and then you switch up and go back to the way you were prior to. It's within reason. There's limits and not going to extremes, but there's like certain limits um, of having a standard and then making sure you're meeting your own standard so you can attract and maintain and keep up with somebody of the same standard.
Sharp with it. Yeah,
Hmm.
I like that. Now saying you was sharp with that response. I like that one because in reality, you're right. I guess I was speaking more from a negative connotation because a lot of the stuff that be happening, it don't be for nothing. You might get what you. So I hear what you saying, which I agree with it. If that's the position that you're in and that's the course you want, but I'm referring to someone who got all these operations done and they 40, 50 years old and now they look like melted wax.
Right. Okay, we discussing the extremes. I definitely cannot get behind the extremes. I think it should all
Right, right,
be within the natural realms of possibility. Um, Implants, injections, breaking your bones off and extending them. I know there are some operations like with the jaw sometimes, people have extreme underbites, overbites, and that can cause health complications. They have to break the bones and shave them down and stuff like that. I can see from a health aspect, but if you're getting an operation, it's going to enhance your appearance, but it's not improving your health any. That's just not cool. Because, like you said, you got to look towards the future. What's this going to look like in the future? How am I going to be feeling about this in the future, 40 years down the road?
exactly. Now, and not only that, if we met and we formed some type of bond, and ain't of what I altered or what I financially presented to you, is going to be because we kind of flow as far as our beliefs and the things that we ultimately are on the same pace to reach ultimately at the end of the day. I think it's more so on that particular course than anything else. And I I don't know. I just I look around, I see all these different videos and these different posts, folks are being admonished for being extremely sexual and it's trickling down to generations thinking it's okay to move and operate like that, dress like that, talk like that, walk like that. And it's sad. I feel for the youngins underneath me. I feel for the grandkids, and it's just one of those things where you kind of look at it and you kind of realize that you're blessed. If you still got your mind and you haven't lost it and you're out here doing everything that they're doing, you're kind of blessed. Something that I gotta remind myself of because I've had my share of self esteem issues. So I've went through different phases. Short hair, long hair. I was skinny. Picked up. I tried to be the bad guy. That didn't work. I know how it feels for people who find themselves trying to experiment and do different things in order to get the type of attention that they want. But I don't think a lot of what people are doing is beneficial or conducive to what they really want. And I think folks are lying to themselves.
right? And it goes back. I feel like with this new culture and hypersexuality and all that, you got to think like, is that really what you want in your life? Like, if you're dressing in a way to make yourself seem sexually appealing, it's okay to dress to look good, but just everything out, dressing super sexually, you got to think like, what type of person will that attract? And it most likely would attract a lustful person. So somebody, they're drawn to you because you look like this sexual being, and you might be wanting, a forever partner, somebody to commit your life to. They're already a lustful person. They're looking at you in a lustful way straight out the gate. So you got to think like, would it be conducive to try and pursue a relationship with that individual? Um, it's like it goes back to that energy you put out, it's the energy you're gonna get back. And it goes back to this celebrity culture. Sex sells. And so people are out here trying to mimic and imitate the lifestyles of the celebrities that's constantly being portrayed to them in media, and not thinking from the perspective of me imitating them. Is that really my life? Is that really the energy I want in my life? It's you gotta be you gotta have an understanding of who you are as a person, and the way that your actions is gonna the reaction you're gonna get from your actions. What's that gonna bring to you? And people don't think on that level. They're just thinking, I see this and I like it and I'm gonna imitate it. Like, we're not thinking for ourselves. Not us, but a lot of people in this generation are not thinking for themselves. They're just imitating. It goes back to this society of followers and trying to keep up with trends and just be comfortable.
Exactly. 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 Do you think there's any chance that any of this can be fixed or rectified in time? Like we have platforms that discuss things like this, and we can talk about it till we blue in the face. But do you think that there's any going back after everything that we've had from Caitlyn Jenner to the LGBTQ, if I said that right, all the way down to Sexy Red? Do you think there's any going back to the heart, the core of what made us a family unit that created healthy homes and lifestyles and families? Is there a place to where we can actually heal these people that feel as though they have no other option other than to do these different things in order to garner the admiration of their other fellows? Or are we just too far gone? And the best we can hope for is maybe reach a handful of people who might listen.
I think it really would just be a handful of people. Um, People are gonna get tired of the way their lives are going. The instability and the craziness, and they're gonna really start thinking. Eventually, they're gonna really start thinking like, what can I do about this? Like, why is why are my relationships not lasting more than a couple months, and why am I doing all of this to keep up with others, but I'm not happy? They're gonna start to question. They're gonna start to become a little more self-aware and critical in their thinking, and connect dots. But I feel like it's so normalized. It's really only going to be a handful of people who are going to reach those conclusions, connect those dots, and reach the conclusions, and end up rediscovering themselves and That the what media portrays, what society is normalized, it's not okay, and it's not gonna lead to a healthy lifestyle. It's not gonna lead to happiness. It's up to individual character, and then having that ability to look at yourself, um, introspection. You know, that critical thinking, think, and then actually come to conclusions. Um, and I see it. There's young people who look at the way of the world right now, and they're like, this is not okay, and that's not what I want for my future. There's people who grow up in those households that follow that lifestyle, and they see it, and they're like, this isn't what I want for myself. And it may take them a little bit longer to figure it out, but there are those who defy the madness, and there are those who have that sheeple mindset and just follow the crowd. But for surely just a handful.
Very, very articulated. Yeah, I don't think there's really too much going back. I think it's only going to get worse. And for the folks that still cling to the hope and the idea that they can remain themselves and true in themselves, I would say to them to hold on to God, hold on to their beliefs and their faith. It's okay to remove yourself from things that do not serve a purpose. It's okay to be different. It's okay to need and desire certain things that only God can provide you that people can't. Because that's ultimately the issue. We chase after things that God don't want for us. And when we get it, we realize it wasn't from Him ever. And you regret that you were so pursuant for it. So I don't think being different is weird. I don't think being different is anything other than you just being yourself. You're just being normal. You're just another human being who has a certain way of living your life, and it's perfectly fine. There are some extremes, but for the most part, you just being quirky and to yourself or whatever the case, that's not something that garners a red flag or should disqualify you from the person that you are supposed to end up with. If that's the case, you're perfectly fine the way that you are. You don't need to change anything about you. The only way I could see a person doing that is if there's health scares and you want to be your best version of yourself. And if you have a family or you have someone that you're involved with, you both want to stay healthy for each other for reasons that will make sure that your generations are healthy moving forward, not just physically but spiritually as well. Because our families, our lineages, they carry sins and iniquities and curses from decades from us, and they pass that stuff on to us. And if we don't break it because they didn't break it, then we're going to end up passing it on to someone else. And that's another thing that's happening too. Just something that I always keep in the back of my mind when I see things like this out here. Whether you're a politician or you're just somebody that just happened to be on YouTube, just living your life doing reaction videos. We all have our stuff. No one is different than the next to me, in my opinion. We're all the same. We just have different stories.
Breaking generational curses is a huge thing. I've been seeing that around a lot, um, people wanting to break those generational curses and defy the norms, embracing their differentness um, in a healthy way. I know there are, again, extremes, you know, people who are just weird, like, like genuinely unhealthy in their conduct and their obsessions. And I know there's a trend with wanting to be different. And so people, they'll, like, I know uh, one person right now who's trending a lot is this YouTuber, like streamer, Speed. I show Speed, like, he conducts himself in very embarrassing ways, um, to be different, to stand out. Embracing differences that are healthy, recognizing healthy patterns, healthy characteristics, and recognizing unhealthy emotional responses and characteristics that may have been inherited from the way you were raised, the things you saw in your youth. All a large part of breaking generational curses, just focusing on the things that bring you peace, that bring you that stability, that make you happy, and make you comfortable without regard to external influences, external opinions. It's a big thing. I seen on one of your posts really recently about, how you're getting back in touch with yourself, doing things that are different that you enjoy in spite of the input of others saying, you're not black enough. I'm pretty sure a lot have heard that growing up. The you don't act black, you don't talk black, you don't look black. Um, was extremely prevalent in our community. I feel like we have one of the most toxic communities with um, norms, stereotypes. I feel like we embrace our stereotypes a little bit too much with the culture that's put out there, the cultures that's portrayed for us. It's a lot of people who want to fit into that stereotype of, excuse me, being a certain way. And there's also a lot of people who are on social media and on these platforms, and, portraying more positive, and the other side of our culture that's more positive, um, and, putting themselves out there in different ways that you wouldn't normally see us portrayed in media. I know Black people, we have a lot of diversity, versatility in the ways we can be and our characteristics, but media really is media portraying us in a certain way. And we kind of embrace those stereotypes that are impressed upon us and kind of shun others of our community for not fitting into those stereotypes. And I see a lot more of embracing other aspects, and I'm glad that's one good thing our generation is doing is, showing that versatility, embracing it, the more positives.
Yeah. Um, I was raised in a fairly dangerous area. Um, a lot of shooting, drugs. So with my experience, I was sheltered. My pop, he kept me under him, and I think he did that because he knew what was outside these walls, and he didn't want me to fall into that. And so by me being covered by him, I had to find other ways to entertain myself, which took me to a different direction, which was anime and wrestling and just things of more innocent nature. It wasn't nothing violent about it. It wasn't Scarface and fucking the most demonic stuff you can imagine. me watching on TV. It wasn't nothing like that. It was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and white people shows, white people shows, right? Because Lord forbid black people watch white people shows. We call them white people shows. They're just. I want to put this out here too. Disclaimer: they're not white people shows. They're shows. They're TV shows. I enjoy Friends. I enjoy Big Bang Theory. My point is, I grew up in a certain environment that I did not want to talk about certain things that the other kids spoke about. I'm in third grade and guys is talking about which entrance way of a woman is preferred. Third grade, people are already talking about which one is preferred. I I I have no idea what you're talking about, and that just goes to tell you further on that for me, I was just always different then. So I don't know this culture, man, is very very is just weird. It's sad that we celebrate acting a certain way. We celebrate being very at young ages. We celebrate snitch code. We celebrate certain music that promotes things that is not advantageous to our growth or our success. We promote our melanin when it comes to attacking each other. We don't have any unity whatsoever. If we are the slightest different in how we choose to live our life, we outcasted. Michael B. Jordan got scolded for being different, for chasing his acting career. He was not someone that the ladies loved in high school. They did not deem him black.
Mm-hmm.
And look at him now. So it's just like for me at this point, who am I trying to impress? You're what's working for you is not going to work for me. What's working for you is probably going to get you end up in jail or dead or stuck in a cycle of violence forever and ever, just constantly just repeating itself. I'm happy with the way I am and who I am. This is my lane. This is my realm, and I have a specific type of circle that I like to be around or involved with. There's a certain type of conversation that I like to have. My humor is different, and I'm okay with that. And it took me a while to really get to that point to where I didn't care about the politics of social media or my coworkers or my family, even family. I got to be me. If I'm not being me, then I'm a disservice to myself. I'm not going to be any good to you because you're going to want the best version of me. You can't give me the best version of you if I'm not being the best version of me. And if you giving me the best version of you and I'm not giving you the best of me, what are we really doing here? You cheating yourself is unfair to you and it's unfair to me. So at this point, I really don't care what I post. I don't care if I'm goofy that day or I'm serious. I don't care if I'm doing my spoken word or I'm doing a short story. I'm going to do it to my heart's content. And if I get on this camera and I have a conversation like I'm having with you, it's going to be conducted the same way. I'm going to be myself. You don't like it, you have the option of going one way or the other. You know, Steve Wilkos always gave the person that was on his platform an option. There's two doors. One door leads you to the life that you lived before. Other door leads you to something that you've never experienced that could be way better for you than the one on the other end. You have the choice. I'm not putting a gun to nobody's head. So I say this to not just for myself, but for you and anyone else that have ambitions and goals, and you move a certain way, and you speak a certain way, and you think a certain way, and you have this this person or these people around you that it's just is this life. We were born with we came into this world with that shit already happening, and we're gonna leave with it happening. Way after we're gone, it's gonna still be going on. People are gonna be judging. People are gonna be stealing, lying. All the stuff that's happening now already happened. That's why I don't really. It's not phasing me no more. I just have to accept the fact that it's always going to be something. But once you centered in yourself, you good. You can go way further being centered in yourself than trying to be centered in somebody else that's not for you in the first place. Understand that everything is not for you. You'll know if it's for you. It'll make sense. It'll just click. You're not going to have to force pieces to go in. It's not going to be difficult. It's just going to like that. So yeah, that my post was meant for the people who ghost watch, read, and be fake supporting and all that other stuff. It was for the folks who don't believe in anything that I'm doing. So a lot of folks are purposely trying to suppress your gift, purposely trying to keep you from shining the way that you're supposed to. My statements, the things that I'm doing, I would rather show you what I'm going to do than actually tell you what I'm going to do. So
It's a big one. Showing instead of telling. I like that. uh, I feel like, yeah, people, they're constantly, I hear what you're saying, but that last statement, just wanted to expound on that a little bit. Um, the way people want to be seen with doing what they're doing, they're reaching a goal, like they want to show the good stuff. Uh, and so they'll be out here, flexing and clout chasing and all that. That's a large thing in this culture, and it's crazy how that clout chasing has ended up having leading to people losing their lives. Trying to talk about look what I got and on media, look what I got, and trying to show out, and they lose their lives because with the way this world is set up and that greediness, that envy, like it's safer to just move in silence. And I know some people they say moving in silence, but step by step they're posting and showing others like this is what I'm going on, but I'm moving in silence, like seeking validation seeking. Um, just it's good to be in your own lane and do what you do and just observe and silently make note. Like as long as you're processing it, taking it in, you seeing it, you noticing what's going on, just observe and process that and take mental note and act on it. Act on it. In your actions show that you know what's up, but not necessarily vocalizing it, verbally expressing it. Because then people they're gonna switch up. They're gonna switch up the way they operate around you because they don't have those critical thinking skills to see your character. And it kind of cuts people out of your life who are superficial and fake because they're not They may not necessarily be thinking on a critical level. They're just listening and they're watching and they're seeing and they're mostly listening though and operating off of what they think. Um, you know, just move in silence. Stay in your lane. Focus on your goals and things will come to you. The negative will eliminate itself out of your life and the good things will come to you based off that energy you're putting out. Because there's evil energies, you can be trying to put out positive and those haters will come out and they'll hear that and they'll see that and they'll come out and do anything to interrupt what you got going on.
Absolutely. 1,000% accurate. I've seen it from some of the most closest people that I've ever followed. I've seen people come and go on IG, people that I've known for years, and they're no longer here anymore because I didn't cater to them. I didn't kiss their ass. Didn't like it. I didn't comment on their stuff every single day because I didn't share their stories or I didn't enter their little. People remember I bought their books. I bought their merchandise. I advertised their stuff. I promote their stuff. You don't remember that, but they
Hmm.
disappear. You don't see them no more. So
They're seeking that instant validation,
yeah,
immediate gratification
and
comes. Yeah.
exactly. And see, here's my thing. You're not gonna. You're only gonna get but so much out of me. We talking right now because we can, because you're listening, that you're actually processing what I'm saying. But if you're one of them people who you only listen to respond, you're not going to hear too much from me anymore because I'm only going to say it once, and after I've spoken on it, I'm going to go on about my day, and I'm going to move and operate based on what you gave me. You showed me all I needed to see. What else is there to talk about? Someone like you, I'll be able to expand upon my thoughts or my future plans or goal or my missions because you take some sort of interest in it to a certain degree. You've displayed that there's a respect there. But the instant I get the idea or the feeling that the respect isn't there, then I already know where I need to categorize you. And that just goes for anyone in general. That's how you have to handle it. That's how you have to treat people. Otherwise, you're going to end up losing yourself. You're going to get thrown off your purpose. You might even lose motivation to do what you was doing in the first place. It really all depends on the company you keep. So I don't really, I'm not trying to impress nobody. I love writing. I love the joy I get out of sitting here and watching something that 6 to 7 of us created over a course of months, and we get to watch the product in its final form. We get to watch it together and see how it can. I love that. I love the journey of creating something from nothing. I love it. I get a rush from meeting people that I never met before and building something outside of just having you as a number on my page. I love that. I don't travel. It's not like I get on a plane every day and I go all across the world and meet different people. This is one of the few places that I can do that. These are memories that I can't get back. So I take that with a grain of salt and with great respect and importance. For those who know, Cover Joy knows. She's the first person that's ever seen me without my mask, ever. Love her to death. I build relationships with people, whether it's social media or out. But I'm not just going to jump out the window for everybody. Everybody don't deserve it. Everybody ain't for me. Everybody ain't for you. But for the right people, you if you know, you know. I don't have to broadcast it every single day. My work will speak for itself, and yours will too.
Yeah, that's very true. Like
I
energy.
yeah, yeah. I know you're saying energy, energy.
Yeah, I was just about to say that energy you put out, you'll get it back. You'll notice it. You'll recognize it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's ultimately my goal and my objective.
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry, the audio just went out.
like
Sorry, I had a phone call.
Oh, okay.
My only objective and goal is to highlight people with gifts and talents get overlooked because of social standing, because of political parties and groups that the true art, the real art, the art that really means something and matters. I want to put light on those type of people. I want the world to see your gift. I want people, and it's not about exposing you to the world or anything specific. Is that I respect your work. I respect it so much that I want other people to see it because it's that good. Now, as far as this, we all grown here. Why we can't sit down and talk about things that's going on around us? Why? What makes you any less than fresh and fit, or makes you any less than one of these famous live streamers? What makes your point of view any less important than theirs? It doesn't. I don't care if you Usher. I don't care if you Kyle Sinai. I don't care if you the guy that you just. I don't care who you are. You know better than me or the next person. My views on things are just as valuable as the next, and so is yours. So here we are, and I couldn't be any more grateful or happier to be here. Over 15 years, this is my second YouTube channel. The first one I took down because I lost my motivation for it. I lost love for it. I found it again. So yeah.
That's
Well,
great.
what else can I say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Go ahead.
Sometimes,
Close
sometimes,
yours.
sometimes you lose that motivation, and it's always great when you rekindle that love for what you were doing. You know, what I mean, gratification shouldn't be the primary focus, but it definitely helps motivate you to continue something, especially with you trying to reach out and create a platform. Um, I'm glad you refound that, rekindled that desire to do this. And I know it's gonna grow. You know, the more you're consistent with it, and the more you put out that good energy you've been putting out, you know, you're gonna drawing those like-minded individuals, and it may take time. I notice, like, with that toxic stuff, the negativity that draws in people a lot more, but it's not putting out something that's conducive to the betterment of people. So when you're doing something good, I always say good things take time. It's gonna take a little bit a little bit more time if you were conforming to the norm, but you're gonna get there and you're gonna be proud of that that progress. You're gonna be proud of what you're doing, and that difference you're making, that platform you're providing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have no intentions on stopping. The only way I'm going to stop is if the Lord decides to call me and tells me that He's tired of me being hard headed, you know, because I screw up all the time. So His patience with me is impeccable. I can't even measure it. And I'll do this as long as He gives me the breath in my lungs to do it. I enjoyed this conversation. I enjoyed this back and forth. You are a very articulate woman with a lot of wisdom. Um, if you thought that nervousness was an issue, it definitely isn't. I don't think it ever was. This was the most fluent and most natural back and forth that I think I've had in a very long time as far as so I want to say thank you for taking express spend this again sometime.
We just get into the end. Oh, you buffering a little bit. We just get into the end and the audio's starting to, but it's
Now you was breaking up.
okay. Okay, so I guess it's probably my connection then.
I hear you now. I hear you now.
Oh, I think we froze. Okay.
It,
Well,
I don't know what that was. Maybe I
is it
say
back?
God too many. I think I say God too many times.
Yeah, it's crazy how Instagram, not Instagram, YouTube, this censorship is insane.
Yeah. Um. I don't know if you caught that last bit. I was basically just giving you the floor to say whatever it is you wanted to say before we close out because I know Uh, we got a 3 day weekend. I know you trying to enjoy yours just like I'm trying to enjoy mine. I'm about to chop this video up. I'm about to get into some more work. I never stop.
Yeah, I'm appreciative for the opportunity. I really enjoyed the discourse. Um, it seems like you and I we got a lot of similar perspectives, similar opinions. Really, just giving voice to them, figuring out ways to phrase it, bouncing ideas, thought process. I'd like to get the chat a little bit more engaged. I seen people pop in. I saw a little bit of input. Definitely, would like to hear more about those who tune in or more from. If you don't want to hop on the live stream, just put it in the chat, so we can see what y'all think. Hear y'all's perspective. This is about giving people the opportunity to vocalize their opinions, their perspectives on subject matter. Like to hear those different perspectives, even if it's the same perspective. I'd like to hear the way.
They
So,
they trying censor. They trying.
like, good. Am I still lagging?
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
I don't know what part it cut out at. I was just saying I'd like to hear more input, similar perspectives or opposing perspectives. And I enjoyed it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is no longer no cap all world. This is assembly of excellence. In order to upgrade the lifestyle, you got to upgrade the name. I had to change it. We excel over here. We do not operate under the conditions of man or the enemy. So yeah, I'll be on the lookout for the next one. We definitely pulling up to IG later on. I don't know if you're gonna be around for that one, but me and Six Ring is gonna be pulling up later tonight, and we're gonna see how that one spin out. But I enjoyed this one. I already knew I was going to early in the week, so I'm glad I was able to get you on here.
Yeah.
And what was that? What was that?
And so, what was that?
I know I was just saying I'm glad that I was able to get you on the live.
I think my audio is cutting up a bit.
Yeah, yeah. We about to go ahead and close out though. It was again love this one, love this one. This is a very dope live stream, man. I appreciate you so much. If you are available later on, feel free to pull up IG. We going on. Um, hit me up. We'll set something else up. If you got a topic or anything that might be on your brain or your heart, you want hit me up. Let me know. We'll make something happen.
For sure. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, all right. Until we speak again,